In this video, I'm using a strategy that you should try too. I picked Alpha. My teammates picked Cecilion and Aldous in Tide Siege. The strategy is simple. Alpha clears creeps fast. Alpha also helps Cecilion sometimes, especially on the top lane. Cecilion focuses on scaling slowly. Aldous farms stacks safely. We don't force random fights early. We focus on fast clearing instead. That's the main strategy. In Tide Siege, speed matters a lot. If you clear faster, you rotate faster. If you rotate faster, you finish objectives faster. Right from the start, I focused on lane clearing. Alpha is really good for that. His skills hit multiple enemies. That helps a lot early game. While clearing, I kept watching the minimap, because Cecilion needed help sometimes. Our Cecilion was playing with me for the first time. He was inexperienced with the hero, so I expected some mistakes. But honestly, that's completely fine. This strategy doesn't require perfect gameplay. You just need patience and decent teamwork. One thing I noticed early was our wave management. Nobody overextended too much. That already made the game smoother. Simple discipline helps a lot. While clearing creeps, I also damaged jungle camps. The goal was maximum efficiency. Every second matters in this mode. Many people underestimate Alpha in Tide Siege. He's not just strong in fights, he's also amazing at clearing quickly. And he has good sustain too. Meanwhile, Cecilion kept stacking slowly. Even though he was inexperienced, he stayed safe. That's already enough for this strategy to work. Another important thing is understanding rotations. You can't group for everything, but you also can't split too much. So we tried balancing both. I handled most of the quick clears. I also helped top lane often. Aldous focused on scaling safely. One thing you'll notice during this gameplay, we don't force unnecessary fights. That's a huge mistake many players make. They waste time chasing enemies, but chasing kills slows the rundown. Objectives matter more. The first turtle spawn is extremely important. As soon as it spawned, I rotated immediately. Alpha helps clear objectives fast. Communication matters a lot here. Even simple pings help. Everyone needs to understand where pressure should go. Some players panic too quickly, then they start playing worse. But he kept farming safely. As the game continued, our clearing became faster. Once Alpha gets items, the map feels easier to control. Another important thing is positioning. Bad positioning wastes time. If you die carelessly, the whole rotation slows down. So I avoided greedy plays. Sometimes the safest play is also the fastest play. As many bosses spawned, I rotated quickly to clear them. Alpha feels really good for this. One thing I recommend, learn the spawn timings properly. If you know spawn timings, you rotate earlier. That saves a lot of time. At this point, the strategy started feeling smoother. Alpha already had decent damage. Cecilion was stacking well too. Aldous was farming safely and getting stronger slowly. Our rotations became much cleaner. At the start, everyone was still adjusting, but later, the teamwork felt natural. That's why staying calm matters. As more waves spawned, I focused on keeping lanes clear. A lot of players ignore lanes too much. Then the whole map becomes messy. So I made sure waves never stacked for long. Another important thing was objective timing. We didn't rush blindly. We cleared nearby pressure first. Then we rotated together. That made fights much easier. There were moments where we could chase enemies, but we ignored unnecessary fights. Objectives were more important. One funny thing during this run was our Cecilion improving slowly. At first he played very carefully. Later he became more confident. His positioning got much better too. That honestly made the gameplay smoother. Meanwhile, Aldous kept farming stacks. That hero becomes dangerous later. So the longer the match lasted, the stronger our lineup became. At one point, we started clearing mini-bosses extremely fast. That's when I realized this might become our fastest run. Everything started syncing together. Alpha handled frontline pressure. Cecilion controlled waves with strong scaling damage. Aldous added more pressure later. The combination worked better than I expected. One mistake to avoid. With this strategy, don't split too far alone. Efficiency matters, but dying alone wastes time. Another important thing is knowing when to disengage. Not every fight needs to continue forever. Sometimes backing away is the smarter decision. That helps maintain momentum. You'll notice during this gameplay that we avoided risky plays. That consistency helped a lot. As the game progressed, the map became easier to control. Most waves disappeared quickly. Objectives melted really fast. At this point, the gameplay felt very smooth. Everybody understood their role. I continued focusing on fast clears and rotations. Whenever turtles or mini-bosses spawned, I rotated immediately. Preparation matters a lot. Even small delays slow the rundown. Another thing that helped us was staying patient during chaos. There were messy moments sometimes, but instead of panicking, we reset and focused again. That discipline helps massively. A lot of matches become difficult because players lose focus. But if you stay calm, the game stays manageable. One thing I really liked about Alpha in this mode, the sustain feels amazing. You can keep fighting without resetting constantly. That makes clearing much faster. By this point, Cecilion's damage was becoming huge. Wave clearing felt much easier now. We could remove pressure very quickly. That helped the rotations a lot. Aldous was also getting stronger, with more stacks. The longer the match lasted, the better our composition became. That's why patience matters with this strategy. You don't need to rush everything. You just need consistent gameplay. One thing I noticed, during this run, everyone focused on their role. And honestly, that's why the strategy worked. Sometimes simple teamwork is enough to win comfortably. As more objectives spawned, our clear speed became crazy fast. Mini-bosses disappeared quickly. Turtles also became much easier. Alpha helped a lot there. His damage and sustain made objective clearing smooth. Another important thing was map awareness. I kept checking the mini-map constantly. That helped avoid unnecessary mistakes. If one lane needed help, I rotated immediately. Fast reactions save a lot of time. One mistake many players make is tunnel vision. They focus too hard on one fight or enemy, then they ignore the entire map. But in Tide Siege, map control matters a lot. You always need to think ahead. You always need to prepare for the next objective. Another thing I recommend is avoiding greedy chases. Sometimes enemies run away with low health, but chasing them usually wastes time. Objectives are still more important. At this point in the match, we already knew the run was fast, but we still stayed careful. One bad mistake can destroy momentum instantly, so we continued playing disciplined. That consistency helped massively. Another thing that made this match fun was how naturally the teamwork improved. At the start, we were still adjusting. Later, everything felt synchronized. Rotations became automatic. Wave clearing became smoother. Objective timing improved too. That's honestly one of my favorite things about matches like this. Seeing teamwork improve naturally during the game feels satisfying. By now, the map felt completely under control. Most problems disappeared quickly. Our scaling heroes were fully online already. Cecilion handled waves easily. Aldous added huge pressure later, and Alpha kept everything stable. That balance made the strategy work. One thing newer players should understand, you don't always need flashy mechanics. Good decision-making matters more. Simple rotations matter more. Patience matters more. If you avoid unnecessary mistakes, the run becomes much smoother. Another important detail is staying efficient while moving. Even small delays add up over time, so I tried moving directly between objectives and lanes. No unnecessary wandering around. That alone saves a surprising amount of time during long matches. As we entered the later stages, the gameplay became even smoother. Everything started flowing perfectly. That's when I realized this might actually become our fastest run ever. At this stage of the match, everything felt really smooth. The rotations were clean. The lanes stayed controlled. The early game needs patience, but later, the composition becomes very strong. Cecilion was doing massive damage now. Wave clearing became extremely easy. Aldous was also becoming dangerous. During fights, even though the game was going well, we stayed disciplined. That's really important. A lot of players get overconfident. When they're ahead, then they start making mistakes. But we kept focusing on efficiency instead. Whenever an objective spawned, we rotated early. Preparation saves time. Late rotations slow everything down. Another important thing was wave control. We never ignored lanes for too long. That kept the map stable. Messy waves create unnecessary pressure, so we cleared constantly. At one point, the clear speed became ridiculous. Mini-bosses disappeared almost instantly. That's when I fully realized how fast this run actually was. Everything synced together perfectly. Alpha handled frontline pressure. Cecilion controlled the map with scaling damage. Aldous cleaned up fights later. The composition felt balanced. Another thing I learned from this strategy, simple teamwork is extremely underrated. You don't always need crazy mechanics to win. Good positioning helps more. Smart rotations help more. Patience helps more. One mistake players should avoid is panicking during chaotic moments. Sometimes fights become messy, but staying calm matters a lot. If everyone panics, mistakes happen immediately. But if you reset mentally, the match stays manageable. That mindset helped us greatly during this run. Another reason this strategy worked was because everyone adapted naturally. If a lane needed help, someone rotated there quickly. If pressure appeared somewhere, we reacted immediately. Nobody wasted too much time. That consistency kept momentum alive. And momentum is extremely important in Tide Siege. Once momentum is lost, the match feels much slower. So throughout the gameplay, we focused on staying efficient. One thing I recommend, if you try this strategy, practice your rotations first. Mechanics obviously matter, but rotations save huge amounts of time, especially in long matches. By the final stages, everything felt fully under control. The objectives became very easy. Wave clearing stayed smooth, and our teamwork kept improving. Honestly, this became one of my favorite Tide Siege matches. The strategy felt simple, but really effective. And considering this was our first time using this exact setup together, the result was surprisingly good. I honestly think this strategy can become even faster with more practice later. So if you want smoother runs, give this strategy a try. Focus on efficiency, focus on rotations, avoid unnecessary mistakes, and most importantly, stay patient throughout the match. By the end of the match, everything was flowing perfectly. The map stayed under control. Objectives disappeared very fast, and our rotation stayed consistent. That's honestly the biggest reason. This run became so smooth. Nobody tried forcing flashy plays. Nobody wasted too much time. Everyone focused on their role. That discipline helped a lot. One thing I noticed, during the final stages, the composition became extremely comfortable to play together. Cecilion handled waves easily. Aldous added strong pressure in fights, and Alpha kept the pace moving constantly. The balance between the heroes felt really good. Another important thing was staying focused until the end. A lot of players relax too early. When the game is almost finished, then mistakes happen suddenly. So we kept playing carefully until the final objective. That consistency saved the run. Honestly, this became our fastest run so far. And the funny part is, our Cecilion was still learning, the hero during this match, so there's definitely room for improvement later. That's another reason I wanted to upload this gameplay. The strategy is simple. You don't need perfect mechanics. You just need patience, good rotations, and decent teamwork. If you watch carefully, you'll probably notice small details that help make the run faster. Things like positioning, objective timing, and wave management make a huge difference. So if you want faster runs in Tide Siege, this strategy is definitely worth trying. Anyway, enjoy the full gameplay. With no cuts, watch till the end to understand the rotations, timings, and mistakes you should avoid.